New principal officers emerge in the Senate and House of Representatives, but not without some controversy. Also, Senate seeks quick release of relief funds to tackle the impact of floods in affected areas. I am Tijesu Adeoye, and you're watching the Halo Chambers on TVC News. The appointment of principal officers as announced by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio may have started another fresh controversy that has set the leadership of the Senate against the All Progressives Congress. Also, not all lawmakers are pleased with this arrangement, which they say sidelines some of their interests. From the political stock of the APC, Okweyemi Bamidele, representing Ekiti Central, was chosen as the Senate leader. Dave Umahi, representing Ebonyi South, is now the deputy Senate leader. Ali Undume from Borno South is the chief whip of the Senate. And Lola Ashiru from Kwara South Senatorial District is the deputy chief whip. While these new principal officers are excited about their new assignment, some of their colleagues are clearly still unhappy. The APC has also refused to congratulate the new officers because the party was not involved in the selection process.
No. I am very, very much satisfied. What will bring dissatisfaction is maybe if one was interested. I wasn't interested, and I am still not interested.
We've accepted everybody. You see, this Senate doesn't want controversies. Even though there are some people who wanted to complain about the manner some people were chosen, particularly in the minority caucus, but we accepted everything.
Joining me on the program is Honourable Nnamdi Ezechi from Delta State. He's a new lawmaker joining the House of Representatives. It's good to have you on the program. Welcome to the Halo Chambers.
Thank you very much.
It was quite an eventful week for lawmakers in the National Assembly, especially with the appointment of new principal officers of both in the both chambers of the National Assembly. But what was quite surprising is, you know, the mixed reactions we got to see. A lot of people were not too excited about this appointment. Why so?
For me, I don't want to boggle into the reactions or misreactions at the red chamber. What is more important to me is the green chamber. The appointment so far is a right appointment, and those people appointed deserved to serve in that various capacity. So for us at the green chamber, I think they have done justice to every minority political parties.
Okay, but we hear that some parties claim that they were not informed about this appointment. Usually the tradition is to, you know, hear from the party side when these nominations are going to be made. But the party claims they were not carried along in this regard. Why do you think that was the situation?
For me, to those parties, they have right to complain. But for parties that I represent, I think series of meeting was held where all the members and party leadership adopted the candidate.
But you're a member of the PDP,
yeah.
And some members in your party claim that they were not carried along, they were sidelined. So what part of
No, you will agree with me that the situation we find ourselves in this last election, you will see things for yourself, that the people, the party leadership, we are having some little crisis. And if we allow that crisis to continue, it then means that PDP may lose out completely as minority leader of the House.
Okay, so do you see, yes, there is not all sides that are totally accepting this, but are they willing to put aside these differences, you know, and work with the new leadership in place? Do you think people would be able to shelve their differences for this?
Yeah, I am very convinced. I'm very sure that even the minority leader of the Green Chamber is also putting things together to see how lasting solutions come to the party.
Okay, there's a high turnover of lawmakers in the 10th National Assembly, and with the new lawmakers in place, and the lack of experience seems to be quite obvious. How are the new lawmakers maneuvering to acclimatize to the tradition of the National Assembly?
Well, we agree with you to an extent. You know, what happened in the last election was very, very unusual, whereby even some persons who are lawmakers today did not even campaign. Some were just out of luck. And to me, I just believe that is how God wants it. But for experience starts one day. I want to believe that as we progress, having some intellectual ranking members, they will be able to guide us. And the new members are ready to also learn more faster from the ranking members. So
it's the first major week in the National Assembly. Do you think the new lawmakers are catching up, especially yourself? That's it's your first time in the House of Representatives. Are you catching up with?
Yes, I'm catching up. I'm very sure that the reason why my people sent me is to represent them effectively and attract democracy dividends to my federal constituency, and to do justice to law that will better the life of Nigerians. And I think that is the most important thing as a lawmaker. But not just to represent yourself, do things that Nigerians who are suffering will say one day that under the 10th Assembly, things have changed. And that is what I believe we are doing to achieve that for our Nigerian states.
What will be your legislative agenda now that your people have entrusted you to represent them in the National Assembly? What would that be?
My agenda is very clear. One, Ndokwa people. Ndokwa is one of the major contributors to Nigeria's economy. And over the years, there is no federal government presence. Ndokwa has oil and gas. Ndokwa has its potentials that Nigerian state or Nigerian government can never forget in a hurry. And one of the major things I think it should be priority is how the federal government will electrify Ndokwa nation. Ndokwa is the host of the 980 megawatts of electricity today. But go to the Ndokwa place, Ndokwa people, or Ndokwa community, you see no light there. So one of the agenda and the cry of our people is to see how they will step down electricity in Ndokwa nation. The people can have the fair share of what they are contributing to the government.
All right. In your own constituency, we saw that you were a major player in terms of bringing some sort of picketing of an oil company which failed to reach an agreement with the host community. What is the state of affairs of that particular case?
To me, I'm very sure that PIA is almost on board. And with PIA, the communities will have fair shares as regard what they contribute. And the company, to be frank, they are not living up to expectations because the community in which they are working and exploiting for many years, there is nothing to write them about. And I feel it's important for me as their rep to bring the company together with the community, the host community, and see a way where the companies will do justice to the plight of the people, because the people are actually lacking. In terms of employment, there is no employment. In terms of development, infrastructural development, there is nothing. So as a lawmaker, it would be of good thing for me that the people who are the host community will benefit what God's given resources in their land.
Okay, now that the elections of, the selection of principal officers is over, the next big thing is appointment of committees. How is that going in the House of Representatives? What are you hearing?
Yeah, there are a lot of pressure for the committee in the both houses, the Senate and the Reps. There are a lot of pressures of who become this and who become that. But I know with the experience of our Speaker, the Honourable Speaker, Tanjida Abbas, I think the members will have a fair share because he promised the new members that as a match speaker, it can't be all for ranking members. There are ways they are going to work it out in such a way that if you don't get chairman, you get deputy chairman. And of course, members of various committees.
Okay, a lot of people have different things to say about the government of the day in terms of its policies and, you know, latest appointments and all of that. What is your impression about the first days in office of President Bola Tinubu?
For me, I don't want to, it shouldn't sound a personal opinion. But with what is on ground, the policy on ground, it's just a question of time. I believe any moment from now, Nigerians will feel the impact of government, having seen the quality and policies read by President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. And by the special grace of God, he has experience both at the executive arm of government and the legislative arm of government. So such person in aim of affair, Nigerians should expect better. I don't want to join the line of those politicians who will say, because it's not your party. We pray that he's going to do us well. And Nigerians will be happy under his reign.
And do you have any advice for the government, being that you work hand closely with the executive? Any word of advice to the executive?
My advice is that they should keep their house open. It shouldn't be partisan politics. It should be politics of inclusive. Politics that you know that people from different backgrounds are working with you. And the right thing should be done to those federal constituencies who are also major contributors to the nation's economy, like the issue of Ndokwa Nation. If you go to Ndokwa today, there's nothing you can. The only federal presence there is prison yard. The only federal presence is prison yard. And other Tinubu as president, that Ndokwa is electrified. Of course, history will speak for him.
Okay, insecurity is still a major concern, and we have seen in times past that this issue has come up several times on the floor of the parliament, and, you know, legislations are made, resolutions are made, and yet the government is yet to, you know, effectively tackle this situation. Now, as a legislator, as yourself, what do you think, what kind of legislations do you think the National Assembly can bring to bear to, you know, curb this situation?
Of course, the insecurity is becoming a global issue. It's not an issue about what our ideas or contributions. The security architecture in Nigeria needs to be looked into. It is something that critically, as a lawmaker, we are making plans that a bill will be passed where check and balance of this security, check and balance of the security expert will be there. Because now you can be a security chief, but nobody is checking you. Most of the times, they make so much money through these security challenges or situations. So, but when they know that whatever activity they are doing is well monitored, I think when that bill is passed, it will also give them more strength to know that people are watching them, whatever they do.
Thank you very much for your time with us on the program, Honourable Nnamdi Ezechi, and we look forward to your contributions on the floor of the Green Chamber.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much. And joining us now is my colleague in the House of Representatives, Joke Adisa, and she'll be telling us more about the recent appointment of principal officers in the House of Representatives. Joke, what more can you tell us about this recent appointments?
One major issue that dominated the polity in the outgoing week was the appointment of principal officers of the two chambers of the National Assembly in unveiling the names of the 4 principal officers of the majority party. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas was emphatic in his statement. He said the list was endorsed by the leadership of the All Progressives Congress, and that his assignment was just to make the announcement. In the same vein, the Speaker announced the 4 offices of the Minority Caucus to a rousing applause of all members. This is what the Speaker said.
The title of the letter is Nomination of Minority Leaders. According to the standing rule of the House, Order 7, Rule 8, stated that members of the minority parties in the House shall nominate among them minority leaders, minority leader, minority whip, deputy minority leader, and deputy minority whip. According to the resolution of the minority caucuses, sharing the 4 minority positions among the 3 of the minority parties with the highest number of members, we wish to formally notify the House that the minority leaders nominated the following people. Number 1, Honourable Kingsley Chinda has been nominated as the minority leader, and he is from the party PDP extraction. Number 2 is Honourable Ali Isa JC, PhD, as the minority whip, also from the PDP. We have number 3, Honourable Ali Hussaini Madaki, Guinea, as deputy minority leader from the NNPP. Last but not the least is Honourable Ozidonabi George Ebize Mao as deputy minority whip from Labour Party. Attached are the signatures of majority members of these caucuses. The next announcement, honorable colleagues, is from APC, and it is also on a related subject matter. And the letter read as follows. That the undersigned members of All Progressive Congress, caucus of the 10th House of Representatives, hereby endorsed the following people. Honorable Julius Ehovere, APC Edo, as majority leader. Honorable Halims Abdullahi, APC Kogi, as deputy majority leader. Honorable Adewumi, Honorable Usman Bello Kumo, APC Gombe, as chief whip. And last but not the least, Honorable Adewumi Oriyomi Onanuga, APC Ogun, as deputy chief whip. The endorsement of these 4 people was backed by the signatures of 143 APC members.
But while the new officers were still savoring the joy of their new appointment, the leadership of the All Progressives Congress revolted. Its national chairman, Abdullahi Adamu, insisted the party did not have a hand in the names so announced at the 2 chambers. What that implies is that the appointees are not recognized by the party's hierarchy. Keen watchers have found the unfolding scenario rather intriguing. Where lies the role of a ruling political party in filling these offices? In the presidential system of government, like Nigeria's, the three arms of government are expected to be independent of one another with clear-cut separation of powers. And while many still believe lawmakers should have been given the free hand to elect their presiding officers rather than be teleguided by the executive as an arm of government on its own, the appointment of principal officers certainly requires the input of the ruling political party. The majority leader, for instance, serves as the mouthpiece of the government on the floor of the chambers, and so should be someone tested, trusted, and conversant with the activities of the government in power. Some analysts are also of the view that changing the names is almost an impossible task. The intervention of President Bola Tinubu has saved the day, and the newly appointed principal officers have now hit the ground running. Nigerians certainly are watching to assess the extent of their performance in due course.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
The Senate is worried about the hardship caused by floods in rural communities where livelihoods have been washed away, lives lost, and properties destroyed. The predictions and warnings coming out of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency indicates that more heavy rains should be expected, and this may cause more floods and devastation in many communities across the country. The senator representing Ogun East Senatorial District moved a motion that got the backing of his colleagues to urge relevant government authorities to immediately release funds meant for mitigating the impacts of floods.
To be further concerned that if the impending floods when the rain really starts in September to November 2023 is not checkmated through proper planning, there could be the danger of a huge loss of lives and properties.
Measures that will avert the ugly scenario of flooding before it occurs will allow flooding to occur and then rush to the scene with a lot of money for palliatives. And this thing keeps on coming like a recurring decimal.
Solution to this is not just piecemeal, but it needs to be, we need to sit with the respective agencies for all over the country, and specifically the FCT, and look at how to solve them. Not just for each rainy season we go into firefighting mode, but to look at permanent solutions.
In the House of Representatives, lawmakers also had something to say about the alleged forgery of JAMB score by a 16-year-old secondary school student. They agreed to probe the ongoing face-off between the examination body and the student alleged to have falsified her results. But first, the House of Reps wants the exam body to withdraw the 3-year ban it placed on the student.
We must presume innocence on the part of the girls. At the same time, we must presume or assume that the JAMB has acted pursuant to the law establishing them, given to them by the act of this parliament. An act of this parliament gave them those powers. We must presume that too.
The consensus is that JAMB's approach has failed the test of institutional procedure. JAMB has alleged a criminal offense, a very serious criminal offense of forgery.
The National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies has concluded plans to facilitate a capacity-building retreat for the leadership of the 10th National Assembly. This has become a necessity because of the high turnover of legislators who largely do not have previous legislative experience and would need to be guided on how to conduct the business of the Parliament.
They are there for us to convoke, call it a dialogue, call it a roundtable, call it anything, but we decided to call it a retreat for the leadership. These are people that are going to paddle the ship of 10th Assembly.
The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, is also learning the ropes of presiding over plenary. He's lucky to have an experienced parliamentarian as his deputy and also other lawmakers that have spent quite a long time in the National Assembly are also on guard to ensure that the naivety of some lawmakers does not affect the legitimacy of bills passed and motions considered on the floor of the Parliament. Let's see an example of this goof.
First prayer, then we have an additional prayer. But, Mr. President, I think normally you should first ask for that first prayer to be accepted before you do an additional.
So I was on the right path. Mandate the committees on works and housing, solid minerals, and habitat when constituted to ensure implementation and report within 6 weeks for further legislative action. Is that carried? Leader of the Senate.
That is our package for the week. Do remember that you can see this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and share. Also watch a repeat broadcast at 7 a.m. on Sunday. Thank you for watching. I am Tijesu Adewi. See you next time.